Welcome back to Alistair Davies Golf. Today's video is all about the Masters, and we're looking to get you to hit a high towering iron shot, whether that be a mid or long iron. The idea behind the premise of this video is at Augusta there's obviously lots of flag locations where we have to hit the ball coming in, landing softly. So unless you can produce the relevant backspin, which some of us can and some of us can't, it all depends on the conditions of the course also. If you can create the right height and land angle, we can get the ball to stop fairly quickly. So I want to give you some simple tips that are going to help land the ball softly on the green and get you to be able to control how the ball reacts when it lands on the green itself. Okay, the high towering iron shot. So I'm going to look at a mid iron here today, and I'm going to look to increase the height that I would hit this so it lands softly on the green. The other option obviously is to create more spin. Now spin is going to rely on friction and contact, so hitting in the right part of the face, having a clean face. So if you haven't got pick and place in the fairways, which you won't have unless it's particularly wet, say for example at the Masters, then you're not going to be able to control that environment. So sometimes you might have to go for trajectory and land angle rather than spin. But spin comes from hitting the right part of the face, about the second or third groove, and it comes from hitting in the center of the face. A toe and heel strike will reduce the spin. So we're going to look to increase the dynamic loft of the club at contact, increase the height by changing a couple things, or one thing in our setup ideally, and one thing in our swing. So two little changes to increase the height. Now obviously this will make the ball travel a little bit shorter, so you would have to take a little bit extra club. And potentially the in-swing thing I'm going to talk about might make the ball move a little bit left to right, which again you're going to have to be happy with. Obviously if we're drawing the ball height will come down a little bit, so just be aware of that. So we're going to change something in the setup and something in the in-swing, as I already said. So the first thing we're going to change is the setup. So what we're going to do is move the ball position further forward to our lead foot to increase the dynamic loft and the static loft. So I've got a 6 iron here. So traditionally for me a 6 iron would be just left to center. So you'll see that here from this camera angle. I'm going to move that ball position up about an inch, inch and a half, almost towards where this logo is, this Adidas logo is on my top. So, you know, over to my left chest, basically, my left pec here. So it's not as far forward as I would have it a driver, but it's certainly probably more or less where I'd play like a 3 or a 4 iron. Okay. So my sternum now is going to be sitting behind the ball. So if my hands stay in the same relative position, obviously the club face now is going to have an increased loft on it at the start, a static increased loft. Also, when I come to make contact with that golf ball, because I'm hitting it further on the arc going this way, the club head will have more relative loft than if it was hit back here. So I'm still potentially going to be hitting slightly down on the ball or around 0, depending on how far forward in the ball position I have that ball positioned. So if I have the ball position kind of, as I said, by my Adidas logo here, that's going to be around about a 0 angle of attack, ideally with a normal swing. So I'm still going to be producing a slight down, slight up, 0 angle of attack to make sure I get ball and turf contact. Obviously, if I've got a really fluffy lie, I can probably get away with even hitting up on the ball to gain even more height. So that's the pre-swing change I'm going to make. The stance is going to stay the same. The weight's going to be still 50-50. Again, I can move more weight to my trail side and increase the height even further, but it brings more risk. There's more chance of me hitting the ground before the ball, which I don't believe we want. So the second change I'm going to make is more in-swing. Now with the in-swing change I'm going to make, I'm going to try and feel that my release, my arm swing as I go through, is a bit higher. And this left elbow is a little bit higher and more out here. Normally this elbow would sit down and rotate more. So I'm basically going to be holding off the club a little bit more through the ball. Arm position, elbow position is going to finish a little bit higher like so. The handle position is going to finish a bit higher like so. And that in turn is going to keep this loft on the club a little bit longer. So almost a little bit like you might see a bunker demonstration I might do, where I feel that the exit's a bit more to the right. The club feels like it's laying back a little bit, and the club feels like it's pointing up more so on the way through. As I said, the only downside in this is we might find the ball moves a little bit more left to right. For me, if I'm trying to hit a high, soft iron shot, I don't mind that. Again, basing this video at the Masters, we're looking at hitting certain parts of the green if we can. Getting the ball to be controllable when it lands. Again, I wouldn't advise we do this the first time out on the golf course to a certain flag. Practice it on the range. Go to the golf course and try these things too. A worst case scenario, move the ball forward and hit your normal swing. You will get an increase in height with a good contact. So let's have a little look at that again. So ball position again, if I start my feet together, and I might go 1/3, 2/3, leave that ball roughly opposite the logo, sternum behind the golf ball, hands opposite the inside left thigh. So there's probably a fairly level look to the club head and the hand position at address here, rather than normally a forward leaning look. Fairly level look, maybe a fraction of forward lean, but it depends again how far forward that ball goes. So then in the golf swing, it's a completely normal backswing. On the way down and through, I'm going to get this higher finish, and certainly less release with the forearms and less release with the hands through the golf ball. Let's try a ball. Okay, so quite clean contact, but again, I'm trying to get that kind of shallower angle of attack, still set around about 0, but shallower angle of attack. Definitely a higher ball flight, and a slight shot that went slightly left to right and a slight push again because I'm not releasing the ball. Now, if that was consistent, then what I might do is aim the left half of the green or left edge of the green, depending on where I want the ball to go. But if I know I'm doing that, again, it also takes out the left shot for me. All the downside in it is looking at the reduction in distance I would have, because I'm not releasing the club, I'm not turning onto the ball perhaps as much as I would normally. So how much distance do I lose because of that? I'll put that all in the mixer. So go through those 2 steps, the ball position and then the swing. And again, practice the swing, practice these kind of arm release swings going much more up like that, and then go ahead and make some shots. Hope you enjoyed that video on creating the high towering landing iron shot specifically for the Masters. Hope you're all enjoying the golf. If you have enjoyed the video, please click like down below. It really helps my channel grow. Please also chat down below. Tell me any videos you'd like to hear from me in the future. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Also, any questions you have, feel free to write them down below. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Got regular content coming every week on a variety of subjects. Thanks for watching, and catch you again here soon.